Robert Lewandowski still making the headlines and still will for the rest of the year, in my opinion. And when
It's going to be
something like this
It's going to be the sports moment of the year.
You think so?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm trying to think of anything that surpassed it right now, and I can't.
Okay, well, that's the purpose of the clip. Great intro to the clip. Is that 5 goals, 9 minutes, phenomenal. We're going to talk about scoring sprees in short periods of time.
Is Wolfsburg terrible?
No, they're a great team.
They are?
That's the thing.
Wolfsburg there's 3 teams in Bundesliga that can really, 2 teams that can compete with Bayern Munich. Wolfsburg,
and they're one of them.
Wolfsburg and Dortmund.
All right,
But for some reason, like, they go through sprees of this, like, demolishing each other. Like, Wolfsburg demolished Bayern Munich last year, like 4-1 or something like that.
But they
have these times where they do this. But the funny thing was, Ben, in this example, Wolfsburg were 1-0 up at halftime, and Lewandowski was a sub, came on, and he came on within the first, his 9 minutes. He scored those 9 minutes. Within 7 minutes.
It's amazing. So that's an amazing. I mean,
5 goals,
you know how I feel about it. I mean, my knowledge of soccer is non-existent.
No, it's existent.
That's impressive. That is impressive. That's impressive. And because you guys averaged like half a goal a game, what is it, like 62% of games end 0-0?
You like to throw stats out there, but someone will correct
I just looked
you.
it up. I think it's 62% of games end scoreless. To have that, there really is no equivalent in sports. There is no equivalent. You can't, because that's like scoring. It would be like scoring 50 points in 4 minutes in basketball. Like it can't happen.
Yeah.
What about 9 points in 8 seconds?
9 points in 8 seconds was incredibly
Reggie
impressive,
Miller,
but it included free throws. Like it's just
a steal, I can't believe I'm giving credit to this because it's like a very bad moment in my life.
It was thrilling. I'm so glad. I like Buster Douglas beating Mike Tyson. I'm so thrilled I was watching it as it happened. Yeah. I'm so thrilled I was watching Reggie Miller that I didn't turn that game off, and then I was like, no.
Would you consider, I guess in the realm of boxing, I don't know if this really fits a scoring outburst in a short period of time, but Muhammad Ali, Sonny Liston, first minute, first round knockout.
Yeah, I mean,
no.
Not a score. It's not a scoring outburst, but it's a condensed period of time.
Also, he didn't hit him.
Well,
he didn't hit him.
That's what I'm saying. But then
he didn't hit him. I don't think he hit him. It doesn't look like he hit him. I think Liston took a dive.
If you're on this, if you're talking this,
he was going to lose anyway, but I think he took it out.
Don't in this frame of mind, then you have to throw in Ronda Rousey as well with her outburst 17 seconds. But that's what I'm saying in that same magnitude. But
we're talking about sports.
You're so wrong for thinking that boxing is not a sport, and especially UFC. But we're not going to go down that road. We're not going down that road.
We're going to go with
short points. Scoring outbursts.
So you were going to mention LeBron James. He went off. When was this again? This was in his time at Cleveland.
When he was in Cleveland, it was 2007. There was a point where LeBron James scored something around the lines of 24 to 28 straight points for the team. Granted, it didn't come over a period of 4 minutes. It came over the period of about a quarter and a half.
Yeah.
And the more impressive thing is he kept, and what they call in the NBA, a heat check. Basically, after you start draining some threes, draining some long-range shots, and you can't miss, he started taking shots from farther and farther back, including what was close to a 40-foot three-pointer, and he just drained it, and he wasn't being stopped.
That's impressive. That doesn't beat Reggie Miller.
No, because that was the playoffs.
It was 8 points. It was 8 points in 9 seconds. Tracy McGrady had 13 in 35 seconds, but I think that was just a regular season game.
It was.
So
I think
when he was on the Rockets.
I think it was to beat the Spurs.
Mm-hmm. It was Rockets versus Spurs. He was on the Rockets. We did a Throwback Thursday clip for this when we used to do the shot clock with remembering T-Max 13 and 35. I still think Reggie Miller's more impressive.
9 and 8. How many seconds was it?
8 seconds. 8.2.
So this is one thing I wanted to bring up, and I don't think
it was 8 points in 9 seconds.
I don't think
wasn't it?
8 points. I'm switching.
2 threes and 2 free throws.
Yes.
I don't think anyone argues that Lewandowski's in this moment, it's unheard of. And the reason why, I'm going to give a couple of points on why, at first hand, you're like, wow, that is impressive. But when you understand football the way it is, right, so the clock keeps going. Doesn't stop like basketball, where you're considering the clock stops. So if you add up all the seconds, was it really that time? And that's me I'm not passing judgment on that.
No, this was 9. This was 9
minutes.
There was no advertisements between Lewandowski's first goal and fifth goal.
No, it's right.
And in a way, obviously it's simple when you just say it out loud, but you think about football, right? They score, they get the ball back. It's the fact that they've got possession back so quickly. So this is credit not just to Lewandowski, but to Bayern Munich as a whole to push forward that much. Because you're 4-1 up. You don't
you think after 3 goals and 4 goals, were they looking for him?
They sense blood.
Yeah.
They sense blood in the water. They're not just looking for him, but they're looking that Wolfsburg are rattled. Like, you are rattled so much so that you're like, they didn't even want to keep possession. They struggled, and Bayern just pushed right onto them. And that's a sign of a good manager, Guardiola, who himself was amazed at the goals, but pushed onto them to make sure that they took full advantage of this.
Two things apply to that. One, the heat check I was mentioning when it comes to basketball. Yeah, there was a cross for the 5th goal where he did a scissor kick. An unbelievable athletic feat.
Let me mention 2 sports that we haven't mentioned yet. Fernando Tatis, I believe, when he was with the Cardinals, maybe he was with the Expos, but I think he was with the Cardinals. But Fernando Tatis hit 2 grand slams in an inning.
Same inning.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive, but it doesn't have the electricity and the time issue that baseball obviously is. One of its great selling points is that there's no time, but that kills you for this conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I say this because I know it well, but it's not on this list, and it should be because of the magnitude of the game. But Super Bowl 1988, following the '87 season, John Elway and the Broncos up 10-0 against Washington going into the second quarter. In that second quarter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touchdowns in the second quarter. Doug Williams just kept throwing touchdown passes. All of a sudden, a game that looked like it was over 10-0 Broncos is 35-10 Washington at the half, and the game's over.
And that's where it probably goes into a different discussion then. You talk about the greatest sporting moments in one quick turnaround. Like that's what you mentioned. Like this is obviously Lewandowski, his individual.
Consider that one, 1988. That's a scoring outburst.
But who is it? Is it the quarterback that's responsible for that? Is it the receivers? That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. This is individual. So when I'm talking about on team, you could then go on to bigger ones like Manchester United, 1-0 down, Champions League final into extra time, 3 minutes left, they score 2 goals and go on and win it. And back-to-back moves.
You got your soccer one.
Right. No, I'm saying there's another one. There's plenty of more.
We're not adding another
So
one.
I guess that makes the conversation become, because it seems like there's 2. There's 2 of the most impressive. This is one of them.
Yeah.
5 goals in 9 minutes. And the other one, I think because, and I'm going to use Ben's word, magnitude. And even though it kills me, because they made a whole documentary about it, was Reggie Miller's 8 and 9, 9 and 8, 8 and 9.
Something else. He's typing something else.
Because it was the playoffs. Could you imagine if Lewandowski did this in a Champions League round of 16 or round of 8 or even a World Cup match? It was, and the only thing that's going to go against them, and this feat is so amazing. I agree. I think it's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen happen in my sporting lifetime. But it was a regular season match. Mm-hmm. The implications were 3 points on the table. With the Knicks versus the Pacers, the implications were game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. It was not the Eastern Conference Finals. It was the second to third.
Yeah, there's a certain factor that comes into it when it is the magnitude of a game, and that's why the first thing I said when I talked about it before was this wasn't against some schmuck team at the bottom of the Bundesliga.
And that's why. And that's also why, the whole and a lot of people are going to say well, Ronaldo scored hat tricks in 9 minutes time and stuff like. But a lot of those hat tricks, at least I've seen looked up before, came against bottom of the barrel or even middle of the La Liga table, which is no different than the middle of the Bundesliga table.
Yeah.
But it wasn't Wolfsburg.
That Washington thing, I can't find the times here, but the Broncos had a drive afterwards. It was almost right at the beginning of the quarter. It was 14 minutes to play in the second quarter. Mm-hmm. The Broncos had a drive after the Washington's last score. So it was in about 12 minutes, 5 touchdowns in a Super Bowl. 4 of them touchdown passes. One of them a run by Timmy Smith.
So 12 minutes running, so that's probably like 3 hours and 30.
About 2
days.
About 2 days. It was remarkable because that game was over and it looked like Denver was going to blow Washington out, and then all of a sudden the game just turned.
Moments like that for me in football, to wrap this up, last points, they stand out to me as well because I've watched football my whole life, my football, and I expect these short bursts. But when I notice, especially in American football, when I notice those quick sprees, those turnarounds that happen so fast, like I'm amazed by it because I'm used to seeing stop, wait, add, back, stop, and then do it. And so when you have something that happens so fast like that, that's the one thing I love about one of the recent games that I watched. The 49ers game was like, they were playing against the Vikings, and the Vikings kind of found some breathing room. And the quarterback, I don't know if it was just because he didn't have any timeouts left, bang, play after play after play.
When you have a hurry offense, which Peyton Manning used to run all the time, especially in crunch time games, if you don't have timeouts, you can't stop the clock unless you get out of bounds, or there's a penalty, or a spike ball, dead ball, whatever it might be. When they get that going, that's what makes football can move. My football, or American football, can move at an unbelievably great pace. It just doesn't happen as much as you'd want.
And I've just realized that it just can, because I used to criticize it, but when you understand the athleticism of the game, you got to give these guys breathing room. You got to give these guys the ability to check themselves. It's
So we have you on American football now.
Well, yeah,
Baseball's
I'm going to be
next.
on Turks and Judge telling about how good my fantasy football team is, which Ben just checked and asked if there was about 3 guys in my league because it was just unbelievable.
No, there's only
choices.
one guy in
You
your
have
team.
Tom Brady and Peyton Manning.
No, Peyton Manning's my backup quarterback.
Yeah, you have Adrian Peterson and Odell Beckham Jr.
And LaShawn McCoy.
Like, what is,
So that's with me.
There's
against,
one person in your
That's with
league.
me against my dad.
yeah,
I just
that's right.
I told him to pick the guys that have the best footwork.
yeah, you're 2-0. Your mom's 0-2.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good
All
family, Ben. All right, come back, subscribe to TYT Sports. Make sure to let us know what do you think is the greatest individual sporting moment in a short spree of time. Sporting.
Sporting Kansas City.
Sporting Kansas. So we have Lewandowski who gets my bet at the moment anyway, but I'm sure there's some that we've missed that you guys will let us know in the comments.